Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Hi, Ralph. Good, and you?
Okay.
I didn't see the email till this evening about, I guess, the meetings are being more held in person now, I see.
Yep.
Yeah, I just it was a crazy day, so getting there would have added time and would have been tough, so.
Yeah, well, kind of same here.
This is our new home, Rick. This is going to be our new home. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This is going to be our new home. It's the Buck Foreman room, the community room upstairs. And so Dave has been working all week to get this set up. Nick Dawson's here and Carl Johnson is our audience.
Okay.
So it was a little last minute because we weren't certain that everything would be set up, but we have you on a nice big screen TV to our right so we can see everyone on Zoom. And Dave has the camera. He's moved. See the new TV we have?
Ooh, wow, yeah. Nice.
We have a very nice studio set up here and it's going to remain until November.
So are you going to keep doing meetings sort of hybrid like this, or are we going to?
That's my idea. I think of course, selectmen are welcome to attend. There's not a huge audience room here, but we'll be able to make it about the same as the library, Mary Flood room. And then overflow can be on Zoom. And we're also going to be able to have live on YouTube. Up right
Okay.
now. So that allows us to go over 100. Correct,
Good.
Nick? Yeah. Yeah, and we do have an American flag here as well.
So a joint meeting with the Board of Ed. Oh, The meeting, I know the Board of Ed was talking about it last night. On the
June
meeting, when
2nd.
we have a joint meeting, are we going to do we have enough room to pull that off being in there together, or what are we gonna do for that meeting?
Well, if it's like tonight, not everyone will be here. I know that a couple of our selectmen are traveling, so they're going to be Zooming in, and this works out very nicely for them. And certainly we'll make accommodations and do our best. We should be able to accommodate 14 people in here. How about the tables? And put a camera over there, Dave, and a camera here. Working out nicely. We do have a quorum, so we are going to call the meeting to order. Board of Selectmen, May 19, 2021. If you'd all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is approval of minutes for the regularly scheduled May 5, 2021 Board of Selectmen. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. I'll second that.
Seconded by Lou. Any changes, errors, or omissions? There being none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. Just for the record, I see Mike Hernandez, Mike Pelton, Rick Shar, Ralph Zampano, Lou Pear, myself, and Jim Tripp are here. So I believe we have everyone. We have a full house. Is our recording secretary? Yes, she is here as well. Sharon Hoy is here. Okay, next item number 4 is to accept the agenda. I just had one slight change, and that is under communications and correspondence. I wanted to include a proclamation for Emergency Management Services Week. So if we could just add EMS Week, that would be the only change to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. I'll second that.
Seconded by Lou. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item under communications and correspondence, I wanted to give you a periodic update on economic development from Mary Dickerson. Mary sends a May 2021 report, and she lists a number of projects. 188 Main Street, they are completing their interior kitchen renovations and Chatham Health District compliance. The new name will be Portland Ale House, that used to be Portland Restaurant. At 220 Main Street, they are completing the final Chatham Health District compliance for Primavera Pizza. That's a new restaurant. 238 Main Street, the Sanctuary Center has received approvals and is preparing to open for business. 255 Main Street, there is an application for a site plan approval on the May 20th Planning and Zoning Commission agenda for building modifications, as well as a substantial addition for a dental office. And the application is of Portland Dental Care LLC. That is the former La Malfa building. So having a substantial improvement to that building is welcome on Main Street. 352 Marlborough Street, the construction for Family Dollar expansion into the former dancing school space will begin mid-June of this year. 680 Portland Cobalt Road, zoning has received an application for a nail salon and spa. 860 Portland Cobalt Road, final inspections are scheduled for the renovation of Dunkin' Donuts, with a target date for them to open with their remodeled facility on May 22. 1116 Portland Cobalt Road, a zoning permit has been approved for construction of a new building for Absolute Air. Plans are under review by the building department and the fire marshal. And last, Dan Bertram of BRT DeMarco attended the Economic Development Commission meeting and gave the following timeline for Brainerd Place. There is a project manager working full-time on the project. There are site packages for earthwork for Building E, which is the large apartment building, has been issued. Foundation permit will be submitted for Building E the first week of June. Building E plans for review for building will be submitted by the end of June. And Van Esthagen Bruslin, VHB, is coordinating final sign-off from the Office of State Traffic Authority for roadway changes. Site work is scheduled to begin in July and full construction is expected in September. The next item, Lou Pear has some news for us. Lou?
Okay. We have good news on behalf of the Department of Environmental and Energy and Environmental Protection. We received a letter today from Laura Giannotti saying that our town and our airline trail spur has been recognized as a award-winning in the 21st annual Connecticut Greenway Award Program. It's a National Trails Day celebration. It'll be held in Connecticut. It'll be in Brookfield on June 4th, where people from around the state whose greenways were designated will be recognized. We will go there as well, and there will be an award of signage and certificates for the towns that have been awarded those greenway designations. And we're hoping that this designation will help us along the way to move forward in our phase 2 of the airline trail.
Thank you, Lou. I want to thank you for your work on that project, along with Riz, along with staff in our town hall, our town planning office, as well as our regional council of governments. They helped us quite a bit with that application, and it's, I think, well-deserved. And we're looking forward to that day. Congratulations, Lou, and the whole airline trail group who worked so hard on that wonderful resource. The next item under communications, I wanted everyone to be aware, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education will be meeting in a joint meeting on June the 2nd at 7 p.m. here in the Buck Foreman Room. We have a hybrid meeting arrangement whereby 3 of us are here tonight and the rest of the 4 selectmen are on Zoom and guests are also on Zoom. So it's working out very well and we'll be able to accommodate members of the Board of Education both in person, provided I would ask if they are vaccinated, they do not need to have a mask on, but if they are not vaccinated, they will need to have a mask on if they wish to. So that will be on June 2nd. And I have sent ahead to the selectmen and I shared it with Dr. Britton, a proposed resolution that I hope the selectmen and the Board of Education are able to look at. What it will be is a statement of how the committee that we will form will look at the needs that the schools have for their physical plant from now going forward for the next couple of decades. So it's a very important committee. Our Board of Education has been working hard on this over the last year. They're looking at a sightlines report, which identified a lot of the needs within our schools. And this committee will be formed to look at that as well as other aspects of the school building committee. And they'll have lots of help from our staff as well as perhaps from an entity that the group may decide to hire. So stay tuned for that on June the 2nd. We have some proclamations that we wanted to call your attention to, and I asked Jim Tripp if he would at least let us know the dates and identify the proclamations. Jim?
Sure. The first proclamation is the National Public Works Week, which runs from May 16th to May 22nd, 2020-21. And that was approved by the entire board.
Yes.
The second proclamation is for Juneteenth. Again, that'll be on June 19th is the official date. And I know that there's going to be a celebration that is being planned through the various social coalitions that are working. And we have National Emergency Medical Services Week that also runs from May 16th to May 22nd, 2021. Again, also approved by the entire board.
Thank you. And these proclamations can be found on our website. I asked Michelle to put them on the First Select Woman's page so everyone can see the importance of declaring these national. The next item is public comment. Nick, is there anyone in the chat? Thank you. The next item, I know that April Graves could not be here tonight, so she did ask another member to speak. I don't know if anyone has been able to attend tonight. Not sure. If someone is here from the Solidarity Task Force, could you please type your name in the chat? And while we're looking into that, I will point out that on June 23 at 7 o'clock, there's going to be a special Board of Selectmen meeting, and we will have a guest presenter, KJR Consulting. They will be here, and they are under contract. It's an agreement between the library and my office, and they will be talking about managing unconscious bias. And in this session, we get to the root of diversity, equity, and inclusion by unearthing where bias appears and how it impacts daily interactions, decisions, and thoughts. Participants will explore how unconscious bias may prevent achievement of business goals. Using the Bias Buster model, participants practice managing future moments of bias in real time and define strategies to respond productively rather than reacting out of habit. It will be a 1-hour virtual format, Selectmen can choose to participate virtually or in person at the Buck Foreman Room. Everyone is welcome to be part of the audience, but this is a workshop that will be held only for the selectmen, and the selectmen will be participating. There'll be no audience participation in this 1 hour. The delivery will be roughly 40 minutes of content and 20 minutes of Q&A. It's basically continuing education for our Board of Selectmen, and I look forward and thank Janet Nochek for her help in selecting. We interviewed 3 different groups, and this one was chosen for us for June 23. Is there anyone in the chat, Nick? No. Not at this point. Okay. Re-entry committee, the discussion of services and programs offered during COVID-19. I do want to reiterate to the Board of Selectmen that Town Hall at 33 East Main Street will be open and the public can go to the individual offices starting May 24. And we will be following all of the CDC recommendations. And those would be folks that have been fully immunized, are not required to have face coverings or masks within the building. However, if guests or staff have not been immunized, they are to wear a face covering or a mask while they are inside the building. Outside of the building, and sometimes we do have meetings outside of the building, masks are not required, provided social distancing, as we're having here tonight, 6 feet away from one another with fully vaccinated people, as well as those who are not outside, is appropriate in what the governor and CDC is recommending. I do have the library. Janet Nochek was supposed to be here tonight, and I see the Portland Library sign is here. Janet, are you able to speak tonight?
Yes, hello.
Go ahead, Janet. I wanted you to talk a little bit about library protocols for us.
Okay, let's cover it up. Sure, yeah, we've been, we do require the masks, and I think we probably want to keep doing that pretty much. We're a little bit different than Town Hall. We get a lot of people from other communities frequently come in. And of course, we have different ages. We have families with children coming in. So, you know, I think that I would be a little more cautious for at least a few more weeks. Maybe look at it in June and see what's happening. You know, I'm concerned, you know, suddenly a lot of people are taking the masks off, which is great. We all like that. But if indoors, I think where we've got such a variety at times of people, that we still have to be careful. You know, we have people that come in and require assistance of the staff and have to work kind of closely. I would definitely say people should be wearing masks then. I know they may say they're vaccinated, but unfortunately it's kind of a burdensome thing to check, you know, to see if everyone's vaccinated or just get into things. I think the easiest way is to at least request that they wear masks. I don't know what your feelings are on that, but I think, you know, we've been in touch with the Chatham Health District Director, Russ Melmed, and he has advised us to keep some of these best practices going on for the time being until, I guess, until he hears that we're really totally out of the woods. So, that's where I'm at for the most part. We are planning, by the way, to have outdoor programming in the summer. We're planning to have volunteers in the library, some of the youth, the teams. So that's another reason we probably want to be careful till we're sure that things are totally, you know, pretty much totally cleared up, you know, through June. You know, I don't think we'd anticipate having, excuse me, large meetings until probably the fall, until September, I think. Just partly because we have storage in our rooms right now and still quarantining materials as a best practice when they're returned. They're held in the room. So, you know, we've got things going on in the rooms. So we do have our smaller rooms open. So I would say we're pretty safe to let, you know, a small committee or a tutor and a person small, you know, if a person wants to study individually, they could use our small study rooms, but the larger meeting rooms are not available. But basically, I guess we're looking for some guidance on the masks since we're a little bit different than town hall. That's probably the main question that's coming up for me.
Yep, I'll open it up to the selectmen for their comments. Who would like to go first? Lou?
I just had one question, Jen. When do you kind of expect those meeting rooms to be available? Do you think July or August? I know that previously the Clean Energy Task Force and the Airline Trail used one of the rooms for their meetings once a month. If everybody was vaccinated in that group, maybe then that group could use that room, but we wouldn't want to go over your head and wait. We'd like to wait until you say it's okay. So do you expect maybe, I know you said June that you might have some changes, but maybe September would be the time in which the meeting rooms would be available?
Yeah, I'm aiming at September for larger groups. I mean, if you just had 5 people or something, you could probably meet in Van Barnum room, you know, under, I would say, I think the most would probably be 8 people because you'd have to keep some distance if you're all in that same room. We do have an air cleaner that's supposed to clear out the air every hour or so, so that might help. But, you know, it's obviously indoors in one room, so you don't want too many people. So yeah, I would say I don't think the larger rooms would be open until probably September, something like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, a follow up with Lou's question. Why not use the larger room for a meeting with 6 or 8 people where they can spread out more? Just limit the number of people in the room to something that's, you know, considered safe, rather than packing in, say, 6 people in a small room. I mean,
yeah, that would make sense. At the very moment, I would say we're still doing that book quarantining, and we still got some storage in those rooms. We probably could work it out. We can work on that maybe for June. That's a good thought. Makes sense. People are spread out and could open the door there too. Yeah,
right. It's more airy, like where the room where the Mary Flood room, for example, just comes to mind. It,
mm-hmm.
You know,
it would be that.
I wouldn't put 50 people in there, but
No.
you could probably put 10 easily, and they could be quite, you know, very much spread out.
The other room, the one near the children's room, the Wagner room, is very full of furniture. There's some furniture too in the flood, but there's still room for, you know, a small number of people. Things that have had to be taken off the floor, and we've gotten some new things for children's furnishings, and those have not yet been sold or auctioned or whatever. That's on the table to happen.
Then as far as the masking, I agree with you, because it's kind of other than honor system. I mean, you don't know if people have been vaccinated or not, and being almost anybody from any town could just walk into the library. I think keeping the mask policy for now is okay from my perspective. If you know, I assume you wanted some feedback, so.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I guess if you know, if you could check everybody, but that's cumbersome. It's not practical. And I noticed just going into different stores this week that some are still requiring masks and some aren't. So I think you're well within, you know, for at least for another, maybe review it in another month or so. But we're with this virus still kind of raging in other countries, I'm not sure we're totally out of the woods yet.
Yeah, and I think, you know, again, with teens will be coming in somewhat in the summer, and they're starting to get vaccinated. So it'll be a few more weeks or so, I think, before a good number of the younger people are vaccinated, So I think it would behoove us to wait for, you know, just for a few more weeks and then see how how things are going.
The other thing is that you're looking at a population that comes to the library that's not even approved to get vaccinated at this point. You know,
Right, the younger
That's
kids.
true.
so I think, you know, being a little safe, you know, along with the schools are taking the same approach, using, you know, finishing out the year with the same protocol. And I think it's not a bad idea to kind of take the same path for the library, because you are dealing with a similar, you know, part of the similar group that's is a little more susceptible because there aren't vaccinations approved yet.
Anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, when we do outdoor programs, I think we can obviously just ask people to keep their distance if they're not vaccinated, either wear a mask or keep distance. But I think outdoors, you know, we're trying to have outdoor programs for summer reading events. Have a few events where we'll have performers. So we have to work out whether we still need to kind of have distance between people, but I think they're allowed to leave their masks off for those outdoor.
Yeah, I think outdoor is a different category. It's a different, I think they're okay without masks outdoors, as long as they're not on top of each other.
Any comments on the town hall? I know that this really isn't constituting too much of a change than what we had already talked about. The only difference is following the governor's recommendations of the masks. So I'll open that up. If there's any comments?
I'm glad you're opening.
Good. We are too. Staff are
So-
ready. The offices are ready. And of course, everyone, if they choose to wear a face covering, they may. There's no, nothing that says you don't. You have to take it off. You can wear it, even if you are fully vaccinated. And I suspect some people will, based on the closeness they may be working or the groups they may be associating with. In town hall, as Jan pointed out, it's very different business, very different activity that occurs. And in the offices that greet customers, there is plexiglass that's between the customer and the collective revenue, for example. Also within the town clerk's office, there is plexiglass between the customer and the town clerk and the assistant. And I believe it's also in the assessor's office as well. And in the building and land use office and public works. In my office, we have installed a very nice gate that asks people to please wait in the hallway before they enter the office so that we can make sure we're there and we can accommodate their needs. Sometimes people have been used to just walking right in, but we would like to be able to at least greet people and make sure that whatever it is they're looking for, we can accommodate. The Board of Education is looking at maybe doing the same thing. They do have a gate and a counter that seems to work nicely. So I don't think this constitutes too much of a change. I don't know that there's a requirement for you to vote, but certainly if you wish to, you may. What do you want to do?
I think just the information is good at this time. I don't think we need to vote on anything. The only thing I was going to say as far as the town hall goes is if there could be some sign or some information as people are going into the town hall saying something to the effect that it's recommended that you wear a mask if you're not vaccinated or something like to that effect.
I know that Michelle Sapaglia, my assistant, has gone through the governor's recommendations and she has prepared a sign that will be visible. The only way you can enter town hall will be by the Veterans Memorial Park. So you come in where the flags are. The front door will not be open to the public. It's for fire exit only. Staff do use that, but the public is asked to enter the back of the building and exit the back of the building, which allows us to have better control as to whom is coming into the building, and we can better accommodate their needs. Any other comments?
Just nice to see that we're getting to a point where we can open up this way.
Yes.
And nice to see the library opening up to, you know, a little bit more and still staying safe. Good to see the progress.
Thank you. The next item, the Board of Selectmen review of the town charter. I did not have anything to present to you, but I did tell you that I would put it on the agenda again to see if there's any direction that you wish to give tonight. If not, we can move on and leave it on there for another time.
Mhm.
The next item is to set a special town meeting date for the Energy Efficiency Services Loan Agreement. On the 21st of April, we did have a special town meeting to go over the Eversource information for savings at our schools. And it's Valley View School, it's the Brownstone Intermediate School, and it's also the high school. When the contracts came into the finance office, we took a look at the numbers and they were changed. And some of them are minor, some of them are in our favor, some of them are not in our favor. But Tom Robinson and I agreed that we needed to bring it back to a town meeting because of the substantial change. And I'm just going to highlight within the Brownstone Intermediate School, the total project cost remains the same at $213,305. Of that amount, Eversource and Connecticut Natural Gas is expected to give an incentive totaling $130,592. Previously, we were told it would be only $127,324. So that's a modest improvement. The loan amount will not be $85,981, but rather it's reduced to $82,713. And the monthly payment goes down from $1,792 to $1,724 for 48 months. At Valley View School, the total cost for that project remains the same at $169,917. However, between CNG, Connecticut Natural Gas, and Eversource, their incentive that came through in the contract is less. It was at the April 21st meeting, $111,879, but rather the contract will be for $86,832. And the loan amount goes up from $58,038 to $83,085, with a monthly payment also increasing from $1,210 to $1,731 for 48 months. Within the high school, Eversource is expected to provide an incentive of $2,817 for the expected project cost of $7,167. And the loan amount goes up from $3,583 to $4,350. The total monthly payment goes from $75 a month to $91 per month for 48 months. Carl Johnson is here. I just wanted to ask a question, Carl. There's no Connecticut Natural Gas incentive at the high school, is there? No, so I need to change that in this resolution, so it will be Eversource. We will delete where it says and Connecticut Natural Gas. So just yeah, thank you, Carl. It's for the refrigeration units, and the electricity will be reduced substantially. So with those changes, Tom and I looked at the numbers. We still have a positive cash flow, even with the work being done, and a substantial improvement to energy savings over the 4 years and continuing on after that. So the recommendation is coming from Carl Johnson, our Director of Buildings and Grounds for the schools, as well as from the Finance Office. But I'll open it up to the selectmen for their comments.
Susan, I have a question for Carl.
Sure, go ahead.
Carl, I know at the schools I've been working with in these incentive programs, they are now actually given more of a rebate if you finish the projects at an earlier time. So instead, if the project is due, say by November of this year, they give a $10,000 bonus if you finish by September. Has that offer been made to you guys?
Not to my knowledge that it has, no. Tom did not
Oh,
say. And I
okay.
did that in the agreement.
If you wanted to look into that for us or give us the name, we'd be happy to check that out, Mike.
I can ask that question. I will ask that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Carl.
Hey, Carl, if you wanna, if it's an email, if you wanna get me on it or whatever, I could, look at it with you if you'd like.
Okay. I will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Any other questions or comments for Carl while he's at the microphone? I'm going to recommend that the matter go to a June 2nd, 2021 town meeting. We're already going to be here for the Board of Education meeting at 7 o'clock. So I would recommend that this town meeting be held at 6:30 p.m. previous to that joint meeting on June 2nd at the Buck Foreman Community. And it will be a hybrid meeting. People can attend by way of Zoom as well as in person. And I would ask for a motion from a selectman that date and time be established for the special town meeting on this topic about Eversource and Connecticut Natural Gas.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we schedule the town meeting to evaluate the revised approval on an authorization to enter into an energy efficiency services loan agreement with Eversource, dated June 2nd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at the Buck Foreman.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Susan, I
Yes.
like the crunch numbers and I was trying to get what you were saying. So can I ask you to repeat a couple numbers?
Sure.
So on the high school,
Yes.
could you just repeat the changes there?
Well, the total expected project cost remains the same. And that is $7,167, Rick.
Right.
Incentive had been $3,584. Now it is $2,817. Therefore, the loan will be $4,350. It previously, in April, the loan amount was $3,583. The monthly payment had been $75 a month. It goes to $91 a month for the 48 months.
Okay, and then the payment for the monthly payment on Valley View had been $1,210. And did you say that went to $1,731?
Correct.
Okay. And the monthly payment at Brownstone Intermediate, what is that? It was $1,792. What does that go to?
1,724.
Okay. So there's really only one that changed appreciably, and that was
Yes.
Valley View.
Yes.
And that, when I did the percentage of the subsidy, previously it was like 66%, which was extremely high.
Right.
I don't think we're gonna have, any issues with this personally, but
Thank you.
okay.
But as you can see, Rick, because those numbers are substantially changed, I could not move ahead
No,
with it without.
right,
going-
I understand that. Yeah. No, we need to have another public hearing.
It'll be a special town meeting.
Our
There's no
special
public
town
hearing.
meeting.
Yep, it'll be a vote like we had back in April. Because it's a multi-year commitment outside of a typical budget. That's why the charter requires that we have a special town meeting. It means that everybody is aware that we are doing this and that there will be a payment associated with it. albeit a savings overall, it's still important to bring it to people to know that we're committing the town to this project for 4 years.
Right.
Any
I
other
agree.
questions or comments? Again, I'll repeat what I said previously, and that is that this is something that I think is very important to reduce overhead costs for our schools. It improves energy efficiency. It's in keeping with our energy goals. And I want to thank Carl Johnson, as well as Tom Robinson and Charles Britton and the Board of Ed, the Board of Selectmen. I mean, it's really a great project. And I must also say thank you to Eversource and to Connecticut Natural Gas. These programs help us tremendously, and I'm very grateful. So if you're ready for the question, I'll ask everyone in favor of the town meeting indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition, any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Do we have any appointments to boards or commissions tonight? There are none tonight. The next item is an annual function that the selectmen must do after the budget referendum has passed. And that is to set the mill rate for the next fiscal year, which in this case is 2021 through 2022. And you do have a resolution. Jim, do you want to read it for us?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution dated May 19th, 2021, titled Adoption of the Mill Rate for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Whereas the 2021-2022 budget for the town of Portland estimates that $4,534,046 will be received from the state of Connecticut. And without this, the mill rate would be 40.45 mils. Now therefore, be it resolved that the mill rate for the fiscal year 2021-2022 be and is hereby set at 35.01 mils.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Lou. Any discussion from the selectmen? That is the number that we had put forward during our workshops. So all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is to adopt the non-union administration pay plan for 2021-2022. That was also shared with the selectmen, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the pay plan.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution to adopt the non-union administrative pay plan for fiscal year 2021-2022, dated May 19th, 2021. Resolve that the 2021-2022 pay plan for non-union part-time specialists, seasonal employees, and administrative, professional, executive, and elected officials as outlined on the attached be and is hereby adopted.
Second.
Seconded by Lou. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item is adoption of other budgets. These are the budgets that we send transfers to. It's animal control, town aid, road, youth services, resource recovery, building maintenance, and the Parks and Recreation Fund. Is there a motion to approve?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution titled Adoption of the Other Operating Budgets for fiscal year 2021-2022, dated May 19th, 2021. Resolved that the other operating budgets for the fiscal year 2021-2022 as listed below and further outlined on the attachment hereby be hereby adopted. Animal Control Fund, $81,359. Town Aid Road Fund, $239,191. Youth Services Fund, $129,390. Resource Recovery Fund, $352,396. Building Maintenance Fund, $82,000. Parks and Recreation Fund, $502,950. Be it further resolved that the capital improvements budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022, as outlined on the attached, in the amount of $2,985,293, with $106,000 being town source funded projects, $220,000 water source fund projects, and $357,300 sewer source fund projects, $184,000 federal grant fund projects, $617,993 state of Connecticut funded projects, and $1.5 million from capital lease proceeds, be and is hereby adopted.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Lou. Discussion? I want to thank the selectmen and all those that participated in our budgetary process. And this is just one more function of the board. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion carries. The next item is something that's come to my attention, and I'm bringing it to you. And that is our staff at the transfer station and Bob Shea, Director of Public Works, has been speaking with customers, and they would like to propose a change in hours. And the hours would be from June 1 until November 1. And it would be a change in the Saturday hours to be from 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And the transfer station would be open late, as the town hall is, on Tuesday till 6:30 p.m. The feeling is that those people that work out of town or have business out of town during the daily days during the week could be able to go to the transfer station until 6:30 on Tuesday night, and also, of course, on Saturday. They're reporting to me that they're not as busy on Saturday afternoons in the summertime, when a lot of people are either on vacation or perhaps at other functions. So I suggest that this be a pilot, that we publicize, let people know, and put it out there and see how it goes. If we get good response, we can continue. If we get a lot of concerns, complaints, then we can always amend. But I like to listen to what our employees are telling me they're learning from their customers and from their experience. The transfer station is used a lot, and I think we're trying to accommodate our customers. And I don't think that Bob Shea was able to come tonight, but I told him that I would bring it up to the selectmen and open it up for some discussion.
Susan, what, on Tuesday morning, does it still open at 7:30?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Monday would be closed. Sunday is Sunday and Monday closed. Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 7:30 to 3:30. The scale closes, I think, at 3. So you have to get there if you have bulky waste by 3, because they have to have all of the records and the scales closed down by 3:30. And then Saturday would be 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Susan, I'd just like to say, I think this is a great idea. It's about time that we did change these hours to accommodate some of the people that don't get home from work till later. I love the idea that it's only a pilot too, and we could tweak and adjust accordingly. This one thing I'd just like to put on record is I would have to talk to Bob Shea and those guys, but I would almost like to see the hours change from 7:30 to 8:30 and then extend it from 3:30 to 4:30. But for now, I agree with this time change and just to see how it works.
Okay,
But this is great. Thank you.
fair enough.
Yeah, this is Ralph. I
Ralph?
totally agree. I think it does give some hours to some people that may have a difficulty trying to get there. I mean, I know that basically I use it a lot for running leaves or running branches, and there's certainly people that are using it for garbage. So, they're gonna have to have more frequent access to it than doing it on a Saturday. So I think it's a good idea.
Lou, any comments?
I agree as well. I think that this is as a trial basis, this is a good thing to do. We have a lot of people that are working there on Saturdays. They know that there's a lot of people that come in the morning and not too many people that come in the afternoon. And there are people that work Saturday that can't come there. So maybe the afternoon or early evening on one day a week might be what they need. So we may be accommodating all the parties of interest as well as possible. So I think this is a good way to try it out and see how it works. And if it works well, then we keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's good for residents. It gives them an opportunity to go during the week. It's also good for the employees. Let them get out a little bit earlier on a Saturday, especially when it's just going to be slow anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of one of the win-win opportunities. So I think it's a good idea.
Mike Pelton, any comments?
Agree 100%, 100%. And you got to listen to the employees. They have a good idea of how it's going to work best there. So,
Yep.
And then we had a summer ahead of us, and people are dying to get out there too. So,
That's right. All right, so I'm just going to repeat it. These hours are proposed for June 1 through October 1. It's considered a pilot project and it is subject to review to make certain that it is accommodating our employees and customers. And the transfer station will remain closed on Sundays and Mondays. On Tuesday, it will be open from 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., with the scale closing a half hour early at 3 o'clock. And that's the case for all of these hours, by the way. The scale closes a half hour early, so make sure you get there if you have to use the scale. And then on Saturday, from 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So I would put that in the form of a motion. And I know Sharon Hoy is online and she's taking these minutes. So with that as the motion, do I have someone to make the motion?
I'll make the motion, but I just want to clarify because the first time you
Yeah.
said that, you said November
I made a
1st. and then
mistake.
You said the second time October 1st. So which one is it?
I think it's October 1st.
Okay.
You know
I-
why? Because of the sun.
Well, I was going to ask that point, Susan.
Yeah.
What happens when it starts getting dark at 6 o'clock or
We
6:30?
can't have it open.
Okay, because we don't have lights there, do we?
Well, no, and it's just not safe. I made a mistake the first time, Ralph. You're correct. It should be no later than October 1. That's what Bob indicated. But again, depending on if we're losing too much sunlight, we're not going to be open when it's dark.
Okay, well, that was my concern. But I think we're okay with October 1. I mean, I
Okay.
think it's still light at 6:30.
Okay. Good catch.
All right.
Okay, so then I will make the motion for us to have a pilot program at the transfer station running between June 1st to October 1st with the hours changed as stated.
Thank you, Ralph. Is there a second?
Second.
Rick, thank you. Any further discussion? We'll give you reports back, and I'm sure that our customers, residents will speak with our selectmen and see how they will give you some feedback as well. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And I do reiterate what the selectman said, and I thank our employees and Bob Shea for coming forward with something they think will be good for our customers. So thank you. Next item is a resolution for the contract agreement with Tyler Technologies Incorporated. Lou, I think you had that. Do you want to read it
Sure.
for us?
Sure, I make a motion for the resolution for the Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, May 19, 2021, contract agreement with Tyler Technologies Incorporated. Resolve, the Portland Board of Selectmen hereby authorize the first selectwoman to enter into an agreement with Tyler Technologies Incorporated of 1 Tyler Way, Lorraine, Ohio, 45439, to provide reappraisals and reevaluation of real property for the October 1, 2021 grand list Total contract amount is approximately $136,500.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jim. Want to remind everyone that this is a full revaluation. We will have people out in our neighborhoods walking, knocking on doors, asking to enter. If the resident allows them to, they can make an inspection for purposes of valuation in the homes and or businesses. And this is done every 10 years. And then in between, in 5 years, is a statistical revaluation. But this is the full revaluation, and it's a very important project to get our grand list up to market and be certain that it's doing the best that we can to reflect what is in the market this time. Any questions on that? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is a reappointment of the engineering firm for design consultant services for the town center village. Do you have that resolution?
I have.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
All right, I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution titled Reappointment of Engineering Firm for Design Consultant Services, Town Center Village District Overlay Zone, dated May 19th, 2021. Whereas the role of Anchor Engineering Services is to act as an agent for the town as design professionals reviewing land use applications for development proposals located within the Town Center Village District Overlay Zone, and to make suggestions to further enhance and reinforce the community character. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby reappoints the firm of Barton. You're gonna have to help me with that one.
Yeah. And it's actually not Anchor Engineering. I believe it would be LaDuche.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to change at the top.
We need to correct
Yeah,
that.
there needs to
So
be
we're
a
gonna,
correction.
Ladouche. All right, so I'm gonna restart. We have to have a correction here on this.
Anchor Engineering was either acquired or merged with another firm. So it's the same individual that assists us, but the name of the company has changed.
I was gonna say, because I remember Anchor Engineering. I remember this from last time. All right, so I'm gonna restart from where with the whereases. Whereas the role of Barton and LaDuche LLC, and then formerly known as Anchor Engineering Services, is to act as an agent for the town as design professionals reviewing land use applications for development proposals located within the Town Center Village District Overlay Zone, and to make suggestions to further enhance and reinforce the community character. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby reappoints the firm of Barton and LaDuche LLC, formerly known as Anchor Engineering Services, Inc., of 41 Sequin Drive, Glastonbury, Connecticut, 06033, to provide professional engineering services for design review of land use applications for development proposals located within the Town Center Village District Overlay Zone. And be it further resolved that the first select woman be and is hereby authorized to sign the agreement with, again, another correction to what was written, Barton and LaDuche LLC, formerly known as Anchor Engineering Services, Inc., for the contract period ending June 30, 2022, with the option to renew for one additional year renewal, same terms and conditions.
Thank you, Jim. Is there a second?
I'll second. It's Ralph.
Thanks, Ralph. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Jim. Refunds of excess payments. Jim, do you want to do that one too?
Sure. I make a motion that we refund the amount of $80.66 to VCFS Auto Leasing Company.
I second it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm
By
sorry.
Lou.
Ralph usually does this. Go ahead, Ralph.
No, I second it.
Let's not mess things up here. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've been doing it this way for the last 4 years. We can't change this now.
I apologize. I
It's
apologize.
okay. It's okay.
Seconded by Ralph. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you.
I make a motion that we refund the amount of $165.02 to Paul H. Vinichowski.
I second it.
By Ralph. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
I make a motion that we refund the amount of $47.24 to David J. Blaze.
I second that.
Thank you, Ralph. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We'll move on to status and committee reports. We'll start with Lou. Do you have any updates?
No, just the update on the award recognition for a Greenway designation. One thing I can add to that is that the chairman of the Connecticut Greenway organization will be at this recognition. And about 5 years ago, when he came and heard that we were starting with the airline trail, he said, "This sounds like a great thing. I want to come out and see it." But for some reason, he wasn't able to come out. But now, when I see him on the 4th, I'll invite him out and maybe we can go for a walk the next day, which is Trails Day. And just as a point of information, the Trails Day, which is a statewide group of trails that are open for people to use, the airline trail is one of those. That there'll be a trail event starting at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 5th of June. Groups of 15 to 20 people will go in groups. They'll stay separated as far as they can. They'll be requested to wear masks. If they're vaccinated, they do not have to wear masks. But we're looking forward to a good crew of people on the 5th.
Thank you. Jim, any reports?
First of all, congratulations on the Greenways designation. Well, I know you did a lot of work with that. Congratulations to the Airline Trail and all the folks that helped make that happen. That's really very nicely done. I'll go through a little bit from the Board of Education last night. They are looking, when it comes to ESSR funds, basically forming a committee that's going to include somebody from the administration, the Board of Education member, parents and teachers to look at opportunities for how some of that money is going to get spent. So they are looking at how they can proceed sort of in a very prudent way. Board of Education is planning to resume normal their in-person meetings, starting with their June 1st meetings. It's interesting in that because of the way the Board of Education bylaws are, they need to look at whether or not and how they can continue to do hybrid. They have a different situation than where we find ourselves, but their bylaws right now don't make a provision for hybrid. So they're working on that, but they're going to be, as of June 1, resuming their meetings. They could always have them because of the executive order, but now with that ending, it changes how they have to operate. It's quite a bit of discussion. No change to their masking, social distancing, and cohorting practices in the schools. Again, I think that was mentioned earlier. It goes to the fact that, again, most of the folks won't be vaccinated. And right now it's working, so not going to change anything. They did have some discussion last night. They were able to use some savings. They had some retirements, and they were looking at a little bit of funding that they have left over this year to maybe purchase some materials. By doing that and those changes, they were actually able to, there was a K-4 teaching position that they were looking at eliminating in the budget that they're able to keep in. And based on the numbers that they were seeing, that was universally applauded by the board last night. And they also committed last night to use the American Rescue Plan funds. To use American Rescue Plan funds, for a grade 7 to 12, basically secondary complex, a school clinician. Not sure if it's going to be a school psychologist or a school social worker, but basically, as more kids are coming back, to make sure there's an additional resource there, and they're looking with the monies that are available for the rescue plan, that they can do that for 3 years. Up to 3 years, depending on needs. Notice how even in the dark we keep going. So that's all I had from the Board of Education at this point.
Thank you. Any other reports? Ralph, did you have any updates for us?
Yeah, I got some more updates. I'll start with Park and Rec. They had their meeting this week. The highlighted items, one would be after, we certainly passed that ordinance with regards to fees, they will be coming before us in order to talk specifically about the fees that they were trying to look at having put in place. So their intent is to probably come before us very soon with those fees and discuss those with the Board of Selectmen. We did tentatively talk about some dates that may potentially could be used for a day of celebration at the new park. Most likely, the intent would be to acknowledge the people that worked very hard to make the park happen. So I'm trying to work with the other sports teams and see the timing to make sure that we can fit that in probably in the July time frame. There was some discussion about the reservoir. I know you've probably seen the issue with the bridge at the reservoir. There's actually a couple things being looked at in terms of how maybe we can resolve that bridge. Albeit, I don't know if it'll be a permanent solution, but certainly maybe make the adjustment to put the bridge back in place. So there was some discussion along that line, and a couple items where they were talking about some potential solutions and who would help make that happen. And last, with Park and Rec, Nate is certainly very busy with getting the summer program up and running. I think they're kind of excited because they also see the opportunity. We obviously know about the camp that took a hit last year with what we had to deal with, but all the programs took a hit and they had to modify. They're not sports programs. They had a limited offering in terms of an art program. So they're looking to, again, go back to somewhat normal in terms of the programs they may be able to offer. So, it's good to know that maybe we're going to, again, another area where we might be approaching some normalcy. So that's Park and Rec. Obviously, Susan stole my thunder on the EDC by listing all the items that Mary passed in, but I will tell you, those weren't all the items. There were more items that were probably referenced in the minutes of the EDC, and you can go out and read those. The only thing I'd make a point to say is that it was a very good conversation with Dan Bertram because he explained the rationale behind some of the moves that, they're making and the timing and, the interest of the town in terms of timing. So it was a very healthy discussion. And as far as I know, the intent was we left off that he would believe that he would come back in a month because he thought he'd have a better idea of where they would be. So he said he'd probably call in again next month and be able to give a better update. But it was good to hear and also understand the rationale from the town standpoint with the permitting. From them coming in with the foundation allows them to get going on it rather than trying to come in with some big permit for the entire building, which is when we talked about, you realize how daunting it is because of all the electrical and plumbing and everything that's going to go with that building. It's not going to be a simple review of a permit. So by getting the foundation in ahead of time, it doesn't slow them down from beginning the work on the building. So that was a good discussion. And the last thing that I attended was the long-range capital meeting, excuse me, last night. And I was a little late to it coming from Park and Rec, but the gist of the conversation centered around how they're going to be able to try to come up with a solution in redoing the track up at the high school. So they did spend some time talking about that. I proceeded to hear that conversation also occur on the Board of Ed meeting last night. But there's certainly an effort being made to try to come up with a solution for the track. The interesting thing from the Board of Ed meeting was that Stephanie confirmed that she had looked into the thought of whether they can use any of those funds coming from the federal government to use on the track. And she confirmed that would probably not be one of those things that would be considered that could be done with those funds. So we know we have to come up with another strategy, and obviously they understand they need to just come forward with a plan and then figure out how we can execute on that plan.
Thank you. Any other
Ralph, can I ask Ralph a question?
Sure, go ahead, Rick. Of course.
Ralph, I read the minutes from EDC before our meeting tonight. Can you comment, like there was something in there about that Dan Bertram said that Hart Jarvis House was in kind of bad shape and there had been a
Yeah.
fire in there and
Yeah, they actually,
What's-
they did talk about it because evidently this fire, it wasn't like a recent fire with, vandalism. It was a fire, I think they were talking about might have been back in the 30s or 40s.
oh,
So it was, and that's why the dam, they have the problems with the roof because of that fire damage. I don't think they maybe properly did what they were supposed to do in repairing that work on the beams across for the roof. And so that I think is where a lot of those problems come for that building, obviously, are on the roof. So yeah, so that was an interesting discussion. And the other thing they're gonna have to do is, what the plan is, what they're gonna do is they're gonna put that building on wheels, they're gonna roll it to the side and they're gonna move it slowly to its resting place, but it's going to be moving a few times along the way as they get it out of the way to do the other work. Then they put a foundation in, they move it towards the foundation. So there are multiple steps to the Hart Jarvis move. But certainly the condition of the building, especially when they talked about the roof, is certainly a concern.
but you feel that he's still gonna attempt to move it? I mean,
Yeah, he didn't step, he basically admitted that he owns it. So he understands it's gonna be an expensive move, more expensive than he anticipated, but he owns it and he realizes that, so.
Okay, well, thank you for the update.
Good. Any other updates tonight?
I had a couple that I was gonna put under informal, but I'll hit them now real
Okay.
quick. One, and this falls under the header of the Portland Public Works Appreciation Week. One of the events that we've been working for the last, this will be the third year, we've done it twice previously, is with Public Works Week, there's been a joint fundraiser basically for the Portland Food Bank that's been done between the Portland Lions and Portland Public Works. That is actually going on this week. So if you've been into Adams Hometown Market, you'll see the signage that's up. Basically, with the same thing. They're selling virtual bags because we're not doing physical bags as a general rule. So that is ongoing, and you'll see that. That runs through Saturday. Okay, it was basically Sunday to Saturday for this event. And then the other item is Monday for any folks that have a need. It's going to be another Farm to Families event, Monday, May 24th at the Portland Food Bank. It's going to start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're all set with volunteers and ready to go, but we just want to make sure the public, it's going to be the same type of an event. Come in through Freestone Avenue, exit onto Waverly, and we'll have folks there that'll be loading food into trunks. However it comes. Still no official word. I won't find that out until probably tomorrow or Friday, whether or not it's going to be the box of food or whether or not it's going to be stuff that the food bank folks are going to end up putting into bags. We're still trying to figure that out or find that out. But Monday the 24th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nick, is there any public comment?
We have one from Don Gulen. He said he's in support of the new hours for the transfer station. It's good for the residents and employees, but that's it.
Great. Thank you, Don. I'm glad to hear that. That's good feedback. Informal discussion from the Board of Selectmen. I think we're all set on that. I have nothing under follow-up, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Susan, one question.
Yes.
Are the selectmen marching in the parade?
Yes. May
Yeah.
30,
Okay,
please come to the intersection. It's the professional building, which is the intersection of Victoria Road and Main Street. And
Okay.
we will line up there and arrange for our either walk or ride, whatever. If you bring a fancy car, Rick, you can drive it.
I'm a walker.
Okay.
But What time?
1:30. We step off at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So I hope all of us can be there. We didn't do one last year. We had a ceremony in the back of Town Hall, but this year we will be marching. And there will be a reviewing stand, and Mr. Kuzminski will be announcing all of the various floats and information of the parade. Should be a great, great fun day. Thank you to Sarah Rudder and her committee. They do a nice job putting things together, as well as our Veterans Affairs Committee that helps out with that as well. And Father John Antonelli will be doing the benediction and invocation at our ceremony, which will come right after the parade is completed. And as you know, he is our town chaplain, so that'll be one of his first functions, along with Patsy, his dog. Like another person. It's just quite a wonderful addition. Goes everywhere. Yes. Any other questions? Thanks for bringing that up, Rick. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Any other notes or comments or questions?
Good.
Anybody want to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we
Thank you.
adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Rick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8:44. Motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody. Nice seeing you all.
Yes.
Good seeing everyone.
Okay.
Not too bad. 8:44.
It's nice to